Welcome back to the Pistol Report. My name is John Francois. I'm a senior instructor from Archangel Technologies. In our last video, we discussed shot shells, how they're constructed, and how they function. This time we're going to discuss is patterning a shotgun. It's basically sighting in a shotgun. We actually had a subscriber that asked about patterning a shotgun and chokes. So before we get started, what we're going to do is those 4 rules of gun safety. The gun is always loaded. Don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Know your target and what's beyond it, and don't let the barrel point at anything you're not willing to destroy. Now that we have that, we'll move on to a torso silhouette. That's what I use for patterning my shotgun. Each shotgun pattern's different, and that means even if you have 2 identical 8/17 Remington shotguns with identical ammunition, the shotguns are going to pattern slightly different. So you need to know what your shotgun's capabilities are. So to do that, I started out at 20 yards. And at 20 yards, I was missing some of the 9 buckshot that were in my shells. So when you buy your shells, it will tell you on the box certain information like how many pellets. This one is 9 pellets. It's double-aught buck, which is a symbol of 2 side-by-side zeros. Then it has the velocity. This particular Winchester ammunition, the velocities are measured at 1,325 feet per second. Also, it tells you the gauge, 12 gauge, and the cartridge length, 2 3/4. And so notate which ammunition you get. If you want to be very precise, you can even buy them out of the same lot number, so you have very consistent performance. And so what I do is I realize at 15 yards, that's where all 9 of my pellets were on the target. The closer to the target you get, the tighter that pattern is going to be. The further, and some cartridges, they even have 15 pellets, but I found with the cartridges that have double-aught buck, 15 buckshot, that you end up with a flyer. One of them will be a significant amount difference off of the target. So I stick with the 9 pellet. It tends to keep a tighter group and a tighter pattern spread. And so once you determine you're going to pattern your shotgun, take a note of your ammunition, your shotgun, and the distance. And I just write it all on the target because I keep these targets as a reminder to which ammunition and which shotgun performs a certain way. So at the top, I just put, the yardage, 15 yards. It's 45 feet. That's about the max that I will engage a human-sized target at, because I know after that, we're going to have buckshot spreading out and missing some of it. It doesn't mean it restricts you. It just means that's the optimal range for me to engage a human-sized target. So the blue tape are patches I put on each pellet that hit the target. So at 15 yards, I aim center mass, which is the dead center of the target. And all you have to do is fire your shotgun and then take a note of how many of the pellets and where they're mostly on the target. Here you see that the majority of my buckshot are a little bit low from where the center of target is, but you still have significant hits in the chest and even shoulder area. So to me, that's a perfect pattern for self-defense. Also, you want to note how many of your buckshot are on target. I put here all 9, and then I indicate which box I used, whether it's Winchester Black, Winchester Silver, whatever it is. You want to make sure that at a glance you can know, okay, that's my Remington 870 at 15 yards, this is what it does. And if you want, you can even go closer and say 10, and you'll get a tighter pattern, and you can notate that. I tend to do 20, 15, 10, and at 5, you're looking at just one pretty big hole through a paper target. And we saw at our close contact at 3 yards, 2 yards, it's just one hole, looks like one projectile, because the buckshot, the wad, the shot cup, all of it enters the target at that range. And so remember, if you're going to pattern, always wear hearing protection, always wear eye protection, and take your notes. Now, the question about shotgun chokes. A choke is a restricting device that screws or is in the muzzle of a smoothbore shotgun. And all it does is narrow the buckshot or pellets as they come out. So you can have a restricted choke, you can have a modified choke. There's like 7 or 8 different ones. I do not use them, and I don't suggest using them for self-defense, because you cannot then load a slug and shoot it with a choke in the barrel. It'll damage the choke, damage the shotgun, and you're not going to get any performance out of that slug. So if anybody has any questions, please put them in the comments below. Until next time, take care.